Hi, everybody. Welcome to PTZOptics Live.
We are live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Hi, all our friends over at LinkedIn. It's so fun to be live streaming on LinkedIn. Today, we're talking about the FETC Show. It's called the Future of Education and Technology Conference in Miami, Florida. And there's so much cool technology that we're going to review for the education space. If you're interested in that, this is the show for you.
It's going to be our first time there, I believe, right?
That's right. This is our first time that PTZOptics is exhibiting at the FETC show. We're announcing the brand new eSports and Education book. We'll be giving that away for free at the showroom floor. Plus, we have some cool technology we're going to be demonstrating. And this show in particular is going to be a lot of fun because we've got a ton of things prepared for today's show. One special thing, we're bringing back our Spin to Win wheel.
Yay!
This has been so much fun. Everyone always loved this, doing a live giveaway. We're going to do it every single Friday. Oh my gosh, it landed on free camera. Look at that.
Oh my goodness, you ruined some of these chances later on in the show.
No, there's no such thing as jinxing it. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're live Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. This is the PTZOptics live show. We've got an awesome show for you today. So excited to be talking about the FETC Show, Future of Education and Technology Conference, plus an awesome live giveaway, plus an IRL stream to show you a brand new studio, an eSports streaming studio that we're building, and a podcast. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's jump into it, Tess. The FETC Show, Miami, Florida, January 12th, 14th.
14th through
January
17th,
14th. And this is our booth here. It's going to be booth number 4906. It's right there in the bottom right. So if you're attending, check it out. And we'll be giving away copies of the brand new eSports and Education book. This is a book that I've released all about how important eSports is to the education industry, how educators and parents really have a chance to create common ground with students and turn something that's really a cultural phenomenon into an educational experience through the value of competitive sports. Now, we recently hosted an eSports tournament, and I want to show you some footage from that. It was such a rewarding experience, wasn't it, Tess?
It was, and we did have the chance to work with students. It was a completely student-run broadcast.
It was so much fun. And so we decided to say, hey, look, let's have an esports tournament, but instead of using professional production crew that we could have hired, we said, let's have a student camera operator. Let's have a student producer. Let's have the students plug in all the cables and set up all the live streaming gear and have them understand kind of the technology. And we realized through that process, partnering with the Center for Educational Innovation, there's a student there from Hofstra University who was doing the shoutcasting. He was our play-by-play announcer. We realized that when you start to think about an esports tournament, not only are there lots of students playing in the esports tournament, but there's 5, 10, maybe 15 roles that students can be a part of that are non-athlete, non-gaming roles. Some of them include, obviously, on-screen talent. You can see here Derek from Hofstra University. Some include, play-by-play announcing. Some include producers, camera operators, journalists, content creators, bloggers. There's something called an executive producer, if you want to go that far. We've got multiple possible camera operators, social media managers, community organizers. The list goes on and on, even coaches, student coaches. There's obviously real coaches from the schools that are a part of this. It's so much fun. So there's lots of opportunities for students to be involved outside of just video gaming, which is a kind of a fun, awesome thing that's happening out there.
And I'm sure that at the Future of Education Technology Conference that we're going to see a lot in the way of esports. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there.
Yeah, a couple of the companies to check out. Playverse is going to be there. They're with the high school esports league. So they'll be talking about the future of education and technology here at the conference in Miami, Florida. And my book will actually be 100% free on Kindle during the week of FETC. So if you have a Kindle reader, pick it up for free on Amazon. Now, today, someone is going to get the chance to win a free PTZOptics camera. Wouldn't it be great if a school won this for their
That would
school
be great.
or for their broadcast club? So we're giving this away for free. You can sign up to win at ptzoptics.com/giveaway. Someone's going to win a PTZOptics camera today. A great product. I wanted to talk a little bit about what those students were doing. So at the Stream Geek Summit in New York City, we had student camera operators using an IP joystick. But what we found out is that the students actually really wanted to control the cameras with an Xbox controller. And I want to show you guys a look at what it's like to have a student use an Xbox controller to control a PTZ camera. So over here, we have what we kind of call our arcade PTZ camera operator here. And I've got an Xbox joystick attached to it. And you can see here, I'll zoom in so you can see this. I'm actually using an Xbox controller to control this PTZ camera. So it's really, really awesome. You can see here, I go kind of left, right, up, down, zoom in and out. It's got this really great like fine tuning control of the PTZ operation. And this is kind of cool. This is our PTZ camera operator arcade cabinet. And if you can imagine, if you're a broadcast club or somebody out here, I just want to show what we did here. This is a arcade 1-up street. It was at one point a Street Fighter arcade machine, which is like $300. But instead we put a computer in here, and now we can actually use this as a camera operation station. We can also use it as like a shoutcaster view. So you can put anything you want in these, and it just makes it fun and cool for eSports. And you can see here we have camera operator, got a little Xbox joystick here connected to the computer. And it just makes it fun for students. And in a little bit, we're going to show you guys our new eSports streaming area where this is eventually going to end up. And it's just going to be so much fun. We're going to show you that in just a moment.
We should have brought that to have at our booth with us at FETC.
I know.
That would have been cool.
And I wish these arcade cabinets were a little easier to pack up because they're so heavy. But if you've got any questions about eSports and streaming, PTZ cameras and technology used for eSports, let us know in the comments. One of the big important parts of this book is that it outlines exactly how, not just how important eSports is and the tournaments and the industry and the careers that students can be getting at, and also the college and university scholarships and the programs in place for students. All of that obviously is discussed, but how to set up an esports tournament and why it's so important to host esports tournaments at your school to create common ground, places where students can really get together with educators, parents, and other students interested in competitive video gaming. And it just shows everything you need to know after we learned how to do it at the Stream Geek Summit. So all of that's included in the book, along with a free online course on Udemy to really help teachers get a better grasp of how to host their own esports tournaments and what it takes to do that, because it's such a rewarding experience to get kids together to play games together.
Absolutely. And if you're going to be at the show, we're at booth 4906. If you want to get a free pass to the show, if you haven't done that already, reach out to us on Facebook or via email, and we will give you a special coupon code for that. At our booth, of course, we will be displaying the latest technology for our live streaming pan-tilt zoom cameras, even an auto tracking camera, which is very popular with our education customers. So if you want to check that out, stop by our booth and we'll be happy to give you a live demo. We are about to announce our giveaway winner, right?
Oh, that's a good point. I'm getting
He's already geared
my
up.
backpack on. Yeah, we got to announce our live giveaway winner, but I think it's okay to show everybody our esports tournament really quickly.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and announce the winner. So don't forget, you have a chance to win a free PTZOptics camera and lots of other cool stuff. We're bringing it back. The spin to win.
I think we should do an IRL for the spin.
Yeah, that would be fun. We should do that. Yeah. So we'll do an IRL for the spin to win. And we're going to pull 3 winners today for the spin to win. If you have to be here in the chat room to win.
You're pulling 3 winners.
3, we're going to pull. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull a winner.
Okay.
If that winner's not here, we're going to pull another one.
Mm-hmm.
If that winner's not here, we're going to pull another one. That's a total of 3. If those 3 people are not here,
not 3 people
then
winning.
the backup plan, because that has happened in the past, the backup plan is you can go to streamgeeks.live and we can actually play a game of trivia for everyone who's watching, and whoever wins the trivia wins the spin.
Okay, if they're not in the chat, but there is a few moments.
And then we're going to pull a winner and then go to the podcast. Let's do it, guys. All right, so Tess, go ahead and switch to our IRL. We switched. All right. Well, are you guys ready to check out? Let's show you the studio really quickly. I always like to show Mike behind the scenes here. Mike is operating our live stream. It's always fun to go mobile here, so that's fun. There we go. That's the YouTube stream there, coming in at 5 megabits. There we are on Twitch. There we are on LinkedIn. Hi, Ivan, Charles. Good to see you guys. Kevin. Tess. I think Kevin's saying congratulations on being pregnant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's Tess's close-up camera. It's a PTZOptics NDI-HX. You can see Tess has a hair light up there. If you've ever wondered, we have our PTZOptics camera up here, which is a PTZ camera that we zoom in down on things at the table. You can see, by the way, that on these cameras, we always put the IP address. And you can see here this camera has a power over Ethernet for control. It's got HDMI, which comes down to our television, and then SDI, which runs back to our computer here, our live streaming computer. Here's our fun little 12X Z cam. This is on a slider.
Audio, but I can hear it. We have switched camera feeds, remember, so it is going to.
You know, I think there was a second where I didn't have the microphone on, but it's on now.
Oh.
Here's that better look at the.
So that's where the audio is coming from.
Okay.
Better look at that. This was an arcade one-up cabinet, and then I'll just show the back. I don't know. You can see it. You're barely going to be able to see it, but I retrofitted it with an HDMI input so that we can basically put an Intel NUC computer on it, our own little amplifier, and a HDMI, any HDMI input we want on this. Kind of funny. See, it says arcade one-up Street Fighter 2. Set up there. That's a nice little cabinet for the price. I think it was like $200. I'm trying to remember. But let's go show them our new studio. Okay. So it's not done yet. These are the main cameras that we use, by the way. Mike's always got control of these babies. Our main PTZs. That's his main NDI-HX camera. And then that's our newest one that shows the kind of high above shots, and then this is Tess's cross shot there. So, all right, so our new studio is over this way, and it's brand new. It's not ready yet, but we expanded into this space over here, and this is going to be our new studio. So we've got our eSports streaming area over here, and Tess helped design this a bit.
Yay!
So, and this is so important because this is like, I'm so happy with the way this is turning out. So we've got 2 eSports streaming desks here, and then we've got a complete broadcasting PTZOptics producer kit here, okay, which can take 4 SDI camera inputs. And then this right here will be like our play-by-play announcer streaming area.
We're going to have a cool background over here, too. And there's going to just be another added space for streaming, as if we don't already have enough of them.
Collect them all.
So there'll be cameras shooting this way, and this will be like the broadcast desk. This will be where the shoutcaster will be, announcing what's happening. And the cool thing is that you might be thinking, how are you guys going to have an esports tournament with just 2 esports players? Well, what we plan to do is to have like an online server where, we might be able to have 100 people competing in a Fortnite tournament, right? And here at this broadcast desk, you guys will be able to see what's going on. You'll have a computer and a monitor. You got to kind of envision this for a minute with us here. And we'll be able to still have an esports tournament with 100 players because we're going to have prize money and everything. But only 2 of the players will be here. locally to our setup. So it'll be really cool. We've got a new employee named Matthew Benner who's going to help us with being like the moderator and the manager of these esports tournaments. And as always, we're going to kind of report back on what we found, how we're hosting these things. But you don't have to have 100 computers to have a 100-person esports tournament. So that's kind of the cool thing.
We do things virtually around here.
Yep.
So, but we do have, so we have an emphasis on the broadcast side of things, which is where I think a lot of great careers for students involved in esports who might not be the best video gamer in the world, because you really have to be amazingly talented to make enough money to have a real career in esports gaming. But there's so many other, types of careers in esports. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the video game industry. So I do think it's encouraging for students interested in esports to get involved. It's going to be a humongous sport. So that's it for now. I just wanted to show that off really quickly.
Alrighty.
And let's head back. Now, there was a small change to our podcasting studio I want to show really quickly, because the podcasting studio has changed a bit. I'll meet you back in there really quickly. I just want to show you guys this. This is Michael's studio. I know you guys have seen this. It's kind of changed a bit, but this is how Michael does some of his streaming in here. And then Tess's little mini studio there. Still working on some of these things. But I want to quickly show you guys the podcasting studio. Minor changes. Should be a lot nicer, actually. So what we decided to do over here, we've got 1, 2, 3 lights, and we're using the new Rode audio mixer, and then we decided to do just 2 PTZOptics Z cams, because we don't really need a lot of pan tilt zoom in here since we know everybody's stationary. So a little bit of a rework there, but I think you'll see when we switch to the podcast that it's going to be really crisp, detailed. It's going to be really nice. So that would be awesome. Wanted to show that really quickly. All right, it's almost time to get to our giveaway, and so excited to have the giveaway back at the show. A lot of fun. Throwing the live streaming mobile stuff in is always a lot of fun. Everybody likes the mobile stream, right, Tess?
Yes. Tom Hendricks remembered the white desk.
He remembers
Yeah,
the right
our ride or die. He's been with us that long.
Yeah,
We brought it back.
We're going to be designing it similar to what it was. We're so excited to be bringing it back, and we're bringing everything back. We got a. I don't want to say we were burnt out. Hold on. For what?
There you go. Audio's back.
Oh, crap.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Kyle, good news for you. You did sit at that white desk, and part of our 2020 initiatives, anybody who has previously won a free camera, we normally eliminate you from being able to win again, but we are opening up the floodgates again.
Yeah, so anybody can win a free camera again, even if you've won before. So we're resetting that.
We know when we're switching cams, Dubstep Gaming, but we're using a cloud-based server, and it doesn't match up perfectly for whatever reason in terms of when it switches over, when you can hear us. So it's hard to track. It really is. That's the one challenge when we're doing the mobile stream, switching back to studio. So I apologize for that.
Okay, so I am going to draw a winner, and then we're going to pick 3 winners. If they're not here watching live, then we are going to do a crowd purr, which is a kind of fun thing. So Marcos Ianoa, I'm going to find this on YouTube and post it.
All right,
Okay.
let us know if you're in the chat, so it'll be easy for us to find the winner.
Okay, I'm going to chat this in the YouTube chat, so maybe you can display it up on the... Here we go, Marcos. And by the way, let us know if you're here in the chat room so we have an idea of who's here. Sorry, the audio went out a couple times. We got to get back on our game, guys.
And Noah.
All right, here we go. Marcos, Inoa, and then I'm going to pull another one. I'm going to pull 3 pretty quickly because whoever's here, just let us know in the chat. And then we'll get to a trivia so that way we'll definitely get a winner. All right, Shannon Crawford from Memphis, Tennessee. Is Shannon with us? Hi, Michael. Hi, Ghost Helper's here. All right, Shannon Crawford. And then one more, because I know there's a little bit of latency, but we're just going to keep rolling and show those up on the screen.
Okay.
So that if people are on YouTube, they got it. And then Justin Mullins from Hyattsville, Maryland. I'll be actually a little bit upset if we don't get to do the trivia because I really want to, but
Yeah.
I can always just save it for next week.
So you made a trivia.
I made a trivia, just 3 questions, and speed does count. All right, Justin Mullins. That's our 3 winners. If those people aren't here, we're going to streamgeeks.live.
Marcus Anoa, Shannon Crawford, or Justin Mullins. I know I had a Shannon in the chat earlier.
So streamgeeks.live is where we got to go.
Shannon Crawford's here.
Shannon's here.
That's good.
All right. Now, Shannon, do you want Tess to spin the wheel or me to spin the wheel?
Shannon, our first winner for 2020.
Congratulations, Shannon.
It's nice to have somebody in the
Is
chat.
Shannon on Facebook?
Shannon is on
Oh,
Facebook.
can you show her comment?
I will. Oh, it's not working. For
Facebook's not working?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, good job, Shannon. Congratulations. Do you want Tess to spin the wheel or me to spin the wheel? Or Michael? Michael can also spin. Michael's
Yeah.
spun a lot of free cameras before.
Shannon said, I'm here.
Yay. Congratulations, Shannon. So happy for you to win. All right. So who's it going to be, Shannon? Let's show the wheel, Mike, so I can go over all the new things people can win today. So we've got free camera. We've got spin again.
Why don't you do it, Paul?
We've got a brand
She
new
has no
camera light.
preference.
We've got an Android app, Kindle app next time. Win a selfie stick, a free webcam. That's the new PTZOptics webcam. A vMix mousepad. Oh my gosh, there's no little pin in between these two.
So what do? We
You
have to
get
put a
to
nail
choose.
there.
You get to choose, I guess. We'll get if it lands in here, you get to choose until we get a nail in there.
Really? That's a free camera in there.
It's a doubling of the free camera.
Hey,
what
there
are we gonna
you
do?
got better
What are we gonna do?
chances.
We don't have a choice anymore. Who took the tag?
Who did that? All right, Paul, go ahead.
All right. Let me see if this little screw will screw in or not. I feel like this is
Kyle
the
says,
screw.
congrats, Shannon.
All right,
Kyle.
that little screw, it'll be dependent
Hi,
on which side
Maggie.
it's on.
Happy Friday.
Hi, Maggie. All right, I'm going to spin it. Here we go. Here we go. Mike, you got to do the crazy zoom in. Or maybe not. It's fine. Yeah, early. Oh my gosh. What is it going to be? Selfie stick.
Selfie stick. That's something
All
cool.
right. So we
It
did
could
get
be
you
worse.
something. You won a selfie stick today. Congratulations. Now we're going to head out to the podcast. Stick around with us. We're talking about education, innovation in live streaming, video production, FETC show. Let's hit it. See you guys in a minute. See you in the podcast. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Here we go. 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 Testing 1, 2, 3. Here we go, everybody. All right. Just a little test. Everything's looking good. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome to the Post-Show Podcast with your hosts, Paul Richards, Tess Protesto, and Michael Luttermo.
So that is working. That's nice. Okay, cool. All right. All right, getting ready for a podcast. We've been working on this podcast studio for a while. So we've got this shot, and we've got this shot, and that's what we've got. So we've got two little shots here. This shot right here is a bit of a fisheye. So let's do 1.1 on the zoom. Okay. There we go. All right.
Oh gosh, something's not looking right on. Look at this.
Oh my gosh. What?
Look at that.
What? Is it too?
Oh, that looks good. That
What's wrong with it?
doesn't look good.
The.
Our,
I don't understand.
it's mostly just you being in the corner.
All right, it's not that bad, Tess. All right, it's time to start the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Let's rock this out. Hello and welcome to the Post Show Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Richards, joined with Tess Protesto and Michael Luttermoser. Today we're talking about the future of education and technology. Let's hit it.
Welcome to the Post-Show Podcast with your hosts, Paul Richards, Tess Protesto, and Michael Luttermoser. Let's talk shop.
Let's talk.
All right. So, welcome to the Post Show Podcast, everybody. Just finished an awesome live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn was working.
That's right. It was. Everything was working.
Wow, so
Everywhere.
much fun. For those of you on the podcast who might be listening to this, we live stream YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch.
And Twitch, yeah.
And then simultaneously, everyone's still with us. We also record a podcast, which goes out generally to Spotify and Apple, but also Stitcher Radio. So it's a really productive 45 minutes of our day where everyone gets to see our smiling faces and
It's the
some
mad
of you
rush.
get to listen to the podcast.
Yes.
We are building a new eSports streaming studio, and I want to talk about why and the future of education and technology in general. How excited are you guys that we're building a eSports streaming studio?
I'm super
I'm
excited.
pumped. Ready for it.
Now,
When do I get to play a video game?
I know. So we actually get to play video games at work. I told that to Michael, and you were like, "Ooh, really? Which game do I get to play?" So it's fun to be in the esports industry,
Yeah.
right? And so, we're in our 30s. I think Tess is still late 20s, but
Yeah, I'm not 30s yet.
I'm excited to play video games at work.
Yeah.
And that's just me. But think if you were 13, 14, 15 and you were in high school and colleges are telling you you can get a scholarship to play esports. You can, not have to pay these student loans forever.
Right.
And not only that, but you can possibly get a career in esports and video games. So I think it's exciting for young kids, right? For students out there.
Definitely.
So I wrote a book called Esports and Education to really talk about what schools can do to prepare students for jobs in esports, the video game market, jobs surrounding esports, and a lot of it has to do with hosting esports tournaments at local schools so that you can just kind of create common ground and have a space where students can go, oh, I know what an esports tournament is. We did one in my gymnasium, in my local town. And my teacher, so we want kids going to teachers, to parents for advice and education. We don't want to lose that. We don't want them going to Twitch or, the dark web and finding some guy that they're now friends with who's going to help them do an esports tournament in their basement, right? We don't want that.
Yeah.
So we don't want to lose that opportunity to be a positive force in students' lives. And, we talked about this on our last podcast about playing video games with your kids, with students, bringing this all into a friendly environment. Is important. So I see that as the future of education in many ways. But there's so much other technology at this FETC show. Our company, PTZOptics, will be there.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about why we're going and what we're going to show off and stuff like that?
Sure. I mean, esports being one of the reasons why we're interested in education, but education is actually one of our biggest markets. Schools with broadcast clubs, higher education looking for lecture hall equipment and the like. So it's a no-brainer for us. It is our first year there, so we're very excited. We're going to have, of course, our popular and latest innovations in our PTZ camera line, as well as our popular auto tracking camera. Very common product for us in the higher education space. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stop by our booth, 4906.
Yes.
The international man of mystery, Mr. Patrick Kirby, will be there at that show. So if you want to meet Patrick, he will be there.
That's who we're sending off.
Patrick Kirby and then my brother Matthew Richards are going to be in Miami, Florida during this cold, wintry
Watch
Pennsylvania
Why
week
didn't
that
we
we're
go to
having.
that show, Paul? I
know.
feel like
What
we
are we
missed
thinking?
out.
Florida?
Yeah.
That checks a few boxes for me. But it's so important to go to these shows and speak with educators. We're going to be giving away 200 of the esports and education books. So I really hope, I expect that I'm going to get some phone calls and some emails from folks who I think are inspired by the book. We're going to be giving away 200 copies of the esports and education book at NAMM, the North American Music Show, and
it's the same week as FETC.
FETC, same time, same week. So I decided, hey, let's give 200 books at each location, and then also anyone who can't make it, you can get the book for free on Kindle. So it's free all week on Kindle and some of the other stores like Barnes & Nobles and stuff. If you have a Nook, I think it's called.
So stop by the NAMM show, stop by FETC in Miami. We're on the West Coast and East Coast next week.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We work with schools a lot to bring educational technology into the classroom. It's kind of a wave that has happened over the past 10, 20 years. It started with like smart boards and projectors where it was like, let's show the students something on a bigger screen, right? So the kids don't have to, squint at the little pieces of text that the teacher's writing on a board, right? It must have been hard to be a teacher 20, 30 years ago, but I don't think it's gotten any easier.
Nails on a chalkboard.
I have to say, teachers are not, unfortunately, paid as much as they should be, and that's something, nationally, internationally, obviously needs to be taken care of.
They have to deal with everyone and their smartphone.
And there's all these smartphones.
That's so crazy.
Think about that. I honestly think that it's gotten harder to be a teacher because of all the distractions. Like, how do you be a teacher in middle school, high school, when 90% of kids have smartphones and 50% of them say they're addicted to their smartphone?
But you're not supposed to have it in class. Do you think that they're
I don't know. When I went to high school, there was no smartphones, so I don't know what that's like.
There was smartphones when I was in high school.
And they were supposed to be put away,
Yeah,
right?
like if you were caught with your phone out, you'd be in trouble.
Okay.
Or at least reprimanded.
Okay, so you were at least reprimanded.
Yeah, I mean, if it kept happening, like if you're texting in class or something, I'm sure it would be confiscated. But
so, I mean, slowly technology has become more and more integrated into school curriculums and the environment that they have there. And I think it's partially just to keep the kids' attention because they're used to being able to touch things and screens and move things and, interact with a digital world. So like I think that like smart boards, for example, where you can put the frog on the touch screen smart board, and then you can like open, in a biology class, you can like open the frog and see the heart and all the different things. And that was around 10, 15 years ago.
So you don't actually have to touch or smell it.
Now they've got touchscreen televisions.
Remember the smell of
oh gosh,
the dead
I never had
animals
to do that.
You didn't have to do that
around that. Yeah, I guess somehow
Let
I
us
got
know
out
in the
of it.
chat if you've been there.
Yeah, if you've been to biology class and saw that. And let us know in the chat if there's some educational technology out there that you think is really game-changing. One of the biggest game-changing things is the flipped classroom. And what this is, instead of sending the kids home with the homework, you do the homework with them in class. And then when you send them home, they take the lectures and the courses on like an online platform.
I would have liked that so much, I think, better back in the day.
Everybody does because, students learn at different rates and they can sit at home in a comfortable environment. And by the way, this is how they're going to have to learn in real life. There's not going to be a classroom for them to learn something all the time. You're going to have to learn how to watch a computer and learn how to do YouTube and all that stuff. And then when you go to work, you need to do the homework. I mean, that's kind of like what work is, like doing the work part of it. Like expecting kids to do the homework at home. It's like my dog ate it. I'm sorry, So, and then the teacher's there when the work is being done.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Consuming the content is kind of the easy part. I mean, you just have to consume it in a way that you retain it.
Yeah.
But that's what audio visual is all about. Like when you combined audio and video together, the student retention rates skyrocket because now they can, they're seeing something, they're hearing something, and then they can kind of pair that together in their minds. I forget what the statistic is, but it's a big boost in help. And then when they can interact with it, this is where we're kind of moving into eSports. Because like a video game is more than just watching a lecture online. Like that's changed a big deal, right? All right, so we can go from watching a teacher, which you may or may not connect with, right? And the difference between a teacher that you connect with and you don't is like twice as much the information as you can learn. So you can learn half as much information or like double, depending on if you like the person that's standing up there and teaching you.
I didn't connect with any of my high school teachers. Maybe like my art teacher. That was
Yeah.
That's like, yeah.
Shout out Mr. Muscani.
Obviously, I'm in the creative arts or fields. Like,
Right.
That's how
Yeah,
it
and then
happened.
that
That's how it
sculpts your whole
happened.
life.
Yeah. Like, yeah. it
Kyle is
follows you.
Sorry, Michael.
It's okay.
Kyle's commenting that more schools are allowing smartphone use in classrooms as
Wow.
bring your own device, and I guess they're using the devices to interact
Smart.
with the students.
Yeah.
Dangerous, smart, convenient, all those things.
That's interesting. And then a lot of the schools, like for example, might have a screen sharing solution in the classroom. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've been to a high school, to be completely honest. But like the students might be able to share what they're learning on their device and share it up on the screen. Now that sounds dangerous too. But regardless, the difference here is that video games are used in education.
Yep.
They 100% are. They're used at Stanford, at Harvard. They use like Space Invaders to talk about statistics, and then they use like surgeons are being trained, soldiers are being trained at the U.S. Army for situational awareness with video games. I mean, that's pretty obvious with these shooters. It's a good thing for that type of scenario. But the difference of even the flipped classroom, like it's a great idea. It's an awesome way to get through like what I would consider something boring like geometry, or like it's hard to make that into a game. Although
Right.
they have, to be honest.
I would say geometry is the easiest of the math because it's, deals with shapes and stuff like that. It's like, math's just...
But
None of it's
in
easy
in
for me.
general, like
I don't either.
learning, like the thought process of like learning
Yeah.
is being transformed by video games, and at the core of it, it's the element of chance. Like if you say, do this homework and I'll give you an A or whatever, or like I'll give you a treat or something, it's like, okay, I'll do it for my treat. But if you say, I'm like, you have to try this and you may or may not get the treat, it's like, ooh. Like it triggers like a human thing where it's like, I need to like do this or else I don't get that. Like it's very core to the human world of like, and so it's the element of chance. And that's what video games offer. It's like you either do this and win or do this and lose. And it's more effective than do this and automatically win, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the element of chance actually helps fire additional neurons. It also releases dopamine when done at a high level, which we talked about, like feeling cold because you're like, whoa, that video game like scared me. But like also video games can be so fun. Now, again, it's a little bit triggering dopamine in young students.
I was gonna say.
That's the same thing that illicit drugs do.
Yeah.
So it has to be done it needs to be studied, first of all.
Yeah.
And I will say that the studies, they need to catch up quick. Now, here's what the colleges and universities are doing, just to try to put this in perspective. Like University of Washington, they built a 1,000 square foot eSports gaming center and a curriculum based on video games, development, media, all of that stuff. And the overall kind of thought process here is that they said, we want to bring eSports and video gaming curriculums to our students at a rate that matches the jobs that are being created, right? So there's 26,000 media jobs in the Seattle area alone, let alone worldwide, nationwide. And there are state universities, so they really just, probably are thinking about students in their state. But so colleges and universities are saying, let's bring esports and education into our universities and colleges at a rate that matches the growth of esports, which is explosive, the growth of video games, which is explosive. Now, you get down to the high school, the middle school, the K through 12 level, now we're talking about, all right, like we have to teach English, we have to teach science, we have to teach, a liberal agreed upon curriculum to these students, right? Yeah. Some things that are interesting is that like there are STEM schools, right? So science, technology, education, math schools that with a focus on that. They actually have new curriculums that are based on esports, and it's still it's sanctioned by ISTE, International Society of Technology Education, that we talked to, and many others, where it's like it's still at its core like an English curriculum. They're using mainly like adapting English. So instead of having kids read Of Mice and Men, which is a great book, everybody's had to read it, right, of our generation, and this book and this book and this book, they're saying, hey, let's have them learn about esports players and have them write about esports essays and then grade them on something that they're actually passionate about writing about because they're in that world.
Yeah.
So schools now have the option. There are curriculums that are state sanctioned and approved that are based on video games and esports. And then I know I'm veering off a bit, but then that was that conversation about like video games in education in general and their use. And I would say that audio visuals is deeply ingrained into the education system at this point in most first world countries. And then video games themselves, like we even talked about it, like, you guys remember that? Like there was one where it was like, I remember when I was a kid, it was like a math game. It was like you have 12 snowballs, but like if 3 of them melt, how many are left? Yeah. And I was like, this is fun. And I remember liking it. I remember being like, this is fun because I can like kind of control, I have a little bit of control over my path into this educational game. I know they're forcing math down my throat, but at least I can do it, you know? Did you guys ever play any? I mean, Oregon Trail counts.
Yeah.
Right?
We played Oregon Trail. I had something with like a bunny rabbit that I don't know.
I definitely had a math game on the PC, and it was like, I don't know, Master Blaster or something like that. And you do like a bunch of the problems, and like you'd have to like every time you do a problem correct, it'd build a piece of something like a spaceship, and then if you go through like the set, spaceship would take off and you go to the different levels, stuff like that. So
yeah, I remember something kind of like
something
that.
similar.
I think when I was in 4th or 5th grade is when I first remember they were like, there's going to be a computer in this classroom. And there was like one computer in the corner.
Yeah.
And if you went to it, I think it was a Mac. It was an older Mac. And it was big CRT monitors. And literally like, there was like 3 buttons you could click from the get, which was like Oregon Trail or like Word Deluxe or whatever, and like Mathematics at 101. And like I remember playing Oregon Trail, and it was I mean, I have to say, whoever did the art for the original Oregon Trail, like thank you for like that, because it was like a little intense and scary. It was like that my first like video game dopamine release was like, is my little cart gonna get through the river? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I should have traded those apples.
How about like your fake family in the Oregon Trail? Like you had 3 daughters or sisters
that
die. Like how'd you'd be like, you'd be like Sarah died of I don't know. Dentistry,
malaria or something.
I wonder
why do I have to go to St. Louis? I just want to stay on the East Coast.
I don't want to. But Father, why do we have to go?
I wonder if schools still have computer labs.
Oh, they definitely have computer labs.
They do.
The question is are they going to adapt them to play esports on those computers? And that comes down to like, if Kyle Gunderman's out there, I want to ask him. I know Kyle's in the IT department at a pretty big school district, and so if your school has a computer lab, which they do, right? They'll have that. If your school doesn't have a computer lab in 2020, then your school is not probably in America. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. But
now, sure like do. I know at my mom's school, their students each have their own Chromebook. So they don't even really need a computer lab.
We moved from a computer lab to individual Chromebooks.
The school gives the students them.
And I know that a lot of the schools have like Chromebook carts where like all the Chromebooks go into the cart and they all charge at once and then they hand them out. So that's true. And Google has had a lot to do with that transformation there.
The move back in the day was to get the end of the day hall pass from your study hall to go to the like hall or the study room in the computer room to play Oregon Trail at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I wish I knew more about like Google's transformation, because I know I've worked with the SAR High School in New York, and like every student has an email address, and that email address gets them the Google Suite, so every student can use docs, sheets, slides, forms, things like that. So they have all these like great tools, collaborative tools. on the Google side of things, calendars,
Oh,
all
yeah.
those things.
Yeah. Google Docs.
And then they've got their Google Chrome books. And that brings me to something that I'm so glad you mentioned, because we have to wrap the podcast off in like 5 minutes or so, is that, so my question to Kyle was, if your school has a bunch of computers in your room, or do you even feel comfortable saying, hey, kids, do you want to play like video games? And we're going to turn this into an eSports lab? Like, that doesn't seem good, because like, A, are these computers fast enough to handle like Fortnite or all these games?
Yeah, I don't.
Like
Maybe not a
they weren't
Chromebook.
purchased for that originally.
Yeah.
Are we going to install all this stuff on there that's not sanctioned or whatever? It doesn't seem right. But anyway, there's that. Okay, because the kids are trying to start esports clubs in their high schools, and then have a student coach, like a faculty sponsor, and meet once a week. You can have these clubs. It could be at my high school there was a men's hair club. Okay, so like just to give you an idea, like because they want
cool,
students to
different.
be able to have their own club and they can meet once a week for 45
Men's
minutes.
hair?
There was one.
I belong to a DJ club.
Yeah, there's clubs.
Well,
So-
there's clubs I never heard of.
And there will definitely be esports clubs, right? So that's definitely happening. Now, I think with esports clubs, what happens is they have a place to meet in the school, but I don't think they have, like, football has a locker room and a field. And
No, you have to. It's
equipment.
either like the teacher sponsors classroom or.
Yeah.
The general consensus in the chat is that yes, the schools do still have computer labs, but they're often dedicated to like a specific course or something like the graphic design class, AutoCAD Kyle's talking about.
Yeah.
But a lot of the schools do have designated laptops or Chromebooks for their students.
And so that's what I thought. And then so here's what's going to change in the next 10 years. So like, what are schools going to do? Because they're not going to buy souped up, top of the line esports computers, because they're freaking expensive. And how many would they need to do that? But cloud-based gaming has just launched into mainstream. Google Stadia just came out. Xbox xCloud is basically
the new
here.
one. Yeah.
And then PlayStation Now.
Theirs, yeah.
And so what this allows them to do is to use those Chromebooks
To access, yeah.
to play competitive video games. So the schools have the Chromebooks, and now they don't need to download anything.
You just log on and play.
Log on and play.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So literally all of those computer labs, it doesn't matter if the computer's 10 years old. Does it have an internet connection? It can work. So Google's going to be right on board with this. I think Google in education space is going to really take off on this. And so now you go to the IT department and you go, hey, I don't need to install anything on the computer. I just want the kids to come in. They've all got their Google Stadia accounts. They log into Chrome and they play video games with all they need is a keyboard and a mouse and an internet connection.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't take that much time for an esports club to go, hey, we want to get together and practice League of Legends. We have 10 of us. It's a 5-on-5 game. We're all going to log into Google Stadia accounts. And the great thing is like there could be a kid on vacation. His parents are taking him to Disneyland, but he doesn't want to miss his tournament. So he whips out his iPhone. Apparently, as long as you have Chrome on your phone, it's fine. And now he's still playing with the team. Or another way of doing this is like everyone goes home and plays independently. But it'll be like Netflix or something like that. Like it will be like you don't need to download 1,000 videos to have access to 1,000 videos, like Netflix, if that makes sense. You will have to pay a monthly fee. I don't know what it'll be, like $20-$30 probably. It's not going to be expensive, and it's going to be game changing.
$9.99.
No pun intended.
So I'm so glad that I wrote esports and education, because these shifts are going to happen so fast, and the technology's there, and the scalability's there, and the industry's there, and the demand from students is there. But I really wanted to help kind of just write a book that anybody could read, anybody can download for free, to start thinking about, well, how do we teach students to be video game literate? Like these big questions. How do we teach kids to understand the elements behind the video game? How do we make this more an educational experience? How do we extract more value? How do we make parents feel more confident that it can be an educational experience? How can we acknowledge the fact that it is a kind of light side and dark side to video games and esports gaming? How can we also be realistic about the fact that kids think that they're going to get a scholarship? I hope so. definitely compete at a high school level, if that's what you want to do, and hopefully you will get a scholarship. But the scholarships, the demand for how many kids want to be a professional video gamer versus the amount of scholarships that are available is not equal.
Yeah.
Right? So can we think about, all right, well, the live streaming and video production industry is booming. The broadcast industry is booming. The journalism industry needs people. There's lawyers that need to be involved. You can still translate your passion for video games and esports.
Medicine, deal with carpal tunnel.
So much stuff now, and so that's what the goal is. And we're just one small team here, and we're just trying to help. And I think we're going to make some awesome waves in the industry. We're going to start hosting esports tournaments here. And if you're watching the show, fan of the show, watching for a while, listening to the podcast, just check us out. Don't forget to subscribe, because this next 3 months is going to be very interesting when we start rolling out esports tournaments. I don't want to say everything yet because we have some really cool plans. So I don't want to divulge everything. We'll talk about it on Monday on our next podcast.
Nice.
Sounds good.